Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. I'm your host, Hilmarie Hutchison, and today I'm excited to introduce a guest whose voice you've likely heard on the airwaves and whose presence has lit up some of the UAE's biggest stages, Lorna Bancroft. Lorna is the founder of GenX, a youth events brand redefining how the next generation celebrates, connects, and builds confidence. With over 20 years of experience across the UK and the UAE, Lorna is a true media powerhouse. Let's dive into her fascinating journey. Lorna, welcome to the show.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
It's lovely to have you with us today. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your journey from commercial radio in the UK to becoming a well-known voice here in the UAE media scene?
Yes, of course. So I did radio for around 24 years in the UK. I was hosting a really successful breakfast show in the northwest of England and absolutely loved it. I always knew the UK was not where I wanted to be forever. I'm definitely solar powered. So the poor weather conditions in the UK did not suit me whatsoever. I'd been to Dubai quite a lot on holiday because I have some school friends had moved here a number of years ago. I decided it was time to move. And obviously the easiest step for me was to go from radio in the UK to radio here. Obviously there is quite a big difference. The rules are maybe a little bit stricter about what you can and can't discuss, etc. That was just the natural progression for me if I was going to come from the UK, then continue to do the job that I'd known for so many years and loved. And luckily, I got accepted on radio over here as well.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. I love how you say that you are solar powered. That's great. Not a fan of the weather in the UK.
No, trust me, getting up for a breakfast show here at 4:30 a.m. was a lot easier than getting up for a breakfast show in the UK when it was pouring down with rain, pitch black, or I'm scrubbing snow and ice off my car as opposed to here driving to work with the sun shining. It was a lot easier.
Was that the dream growing up, to be on radio?
No, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. In fact, I actually wanted to be a vet, but I realized that wasn't going to be possible because I can't blood or anything like that. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be a vet then, am I? I literally fell into radio. I went to university, didn't like university because I'd always worked hard. I'd had a job since I was 13 years old. So going to university just felt too easy. I've always been more of a grafter than a studier. So I ended up just getting just a regular job doing customer service straight out of uni. And then a friend of mine said, why don't you try doing traffic and travel reports? Your voice isn't too annoying. It's really good fun. It's okay money. I auditioned for that and got the job. And then one of my friends was off sick for a week. So I was covering his radio station and I was talking down the line to the presenter in between the traffic reports. And I didn't realize that he was the boss. So there's me laughing and joking and taking the mickey out of him. And it turns out that it was the boss. And after me covering for a week, he said, I'd love to offer you cover on our breakfast show just for 3 months. They never got rid of me.
Absolutely incredible. I love that you just fell into it. Fantastic. I also think it's funny how you say university was too easy when you're a grafter.
No, it wasn't for me. I'm not a big party animal. Yeah, it just wasn't for me at all. But,
And I like also what you said about your voice not being too annoying. That's great.
My friend said that. I didn't say that. My friend did.
I love that. Well, you've hosted a wide variety of events from New Year's Eve countdowns to luxury brand launches. What have been some of your most memorable moments?
Oh, my goodness me. So many to remember. I remember I was on the red carpet for the National Television Awards and for the Brit Awards in the UK, which was incredible because obviously you get to meet some of your idols coming down the red carpet. And because I've got quite a loud voice, I was able to get their attention. So those were definitely pinch me moments. I would say some of the most memorable for me are the ones where we've raised serious money for charities. There's a children's hospital quite near to my home in the UK. We had a huge charity event at the Hilton Hotel in Manchester. and we managed to raise enough money so they could get a helipad at the hospital. Stuff like that I'm able to assist with. You never think that when you first get into radio, you're going to be in a position where you can use it to create such incredible moments. That definitely a standout moment for me when we heard from the hospital that we'd raised enough for the helipad, and the difference in numbers of kids that they would now be able to help, and the fatality rates would be massively reduced. That was a huge moment for me. Very emotional.
I can imagine how rewarding it must be being part of something where you are going to impact the lives, especially of children. So fantastic. Well, let's talk about GenX, your exciting youth events brand. Can you please tell our audience about GenX, what it is and why you created it?
Okay, so GenX is basically a kids-only brunch for 9 to 14-year-olds. Screen-free time, no parents are allowed. And basically, they come to GenX and it's unlimited food, unlimited soft drinks. There's a karaoke booth. There's the pool tables, the foosball tables, selfie booths that could have pictures and gifts and boomerangs with their friends. They go behind the juice bar and they can create their own mocktails and juice mixtures. We play party games and we do team challenges where the kids can win prizes. It's amazing. We've got a DJ there who the kids absolutely love, and they're requesting their own songs and they can have a go at DJing. Basically a fun and safe environment where they can just relax, be themselves, and hopefully, confidence building. Yeah, I just love it.
It's fantastic. I love that you've created this. So this is for the tweens and teens from 9 to 14 years old, you said. What was the inspiration behind creating GenX?
So when I first moved to the UAE, I've got a lot of friends here that have got kids that age. And when we would go for the family brunches, I very quickly realized that the younger kids were taken care of, right? They've got the bouncy castles, the face painting, the clowns, all that kind of stuff. But the age range of 9 to 14, the kids were just sat around the table, number one, listening to adult conversation, which I don't really think is always appropriate. And also, two, they were just sat on their iPads or on their phones. And then thirdly, they were getting bored. So my friends were having to leave early to take them home because the kids were bored. There has to be an answer to this. There has to be something that we can create that is suitable for this age range. It's such a special age. Baby, you're not kiddie kids, but you're also not adults, older teenagers yet. So I just think it's one of those real awkward ages. It's like, what can and can't you do? Do you know what I mean? I just sort of sat with this idea for about a year and a half, 18 months. And it just kept going on in my head, going on in my head. And then I went to UBK in JLT because they wanted me to host a corporate event for them. And they said, oh, come upstairs. We've just changed the offices upstairs into a fun zone. And as soon as I walked into the venue, I just knew that this was the place that we needed to start GenX. It just had everything I needed. And of course, because UBK is right downstairs, I thought this is great. The kids can be upstairs. And for those parents who are maybe a little bit more nervous about leaving the kids for the first time, they can just sit down in UBK and they're a 10-second run up the stairs away from the kids if they need to get hold of them. And there we go. The rest is history.
Absolutely fantastic. You identified a gap and you found a solution for it. There was definitely this. And as you say, they're in that sort of middle stage, not babies, but not adults yet. So it is an awkward age. And you often see this in restaurants with the kids just on their mobile phones and bored because there's nothing else for them to do at the table. So I think it was an excellent solution that you've created.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is for me, I look back at my own childhood, myself and my sister were never allowed to sit with my parents and their friends. When their friends came over, they said, okay, girls, it's now adult time, go up to the playroom. And I do think so much nowadays, we just have the kids sitting there in the background and you don't, a lot of times you're not aware of what you're saying because you're just in an easy conversation, right? But little ears are absorbing so much information. With what we do at GenX, again, going back to my childhood, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. These are all very simple games and challenges that me and my sister made up when we were kids. We didn't have Game Boys and Xboxes and all that kind of stuff. We had to make games out of paper cups, plastic plates, whatever it was that we had in the house, that's what we had to make the games out of. And that's all we're doing at Gen X. We're not bringing in all these high-tech games to keep the kids occupied. We're doing back to basic team games that will build them as a team, give them confidence, win them prizes. And I love it when the parents message me when the kids get home and they're like, oh, their brother is just showing them the games that they played at Gen X today. He's got the plastic cups out of the cupboard, or they're doing the plank challenge in the bedroom. I love that, because I do think we're losing that sense of imagination these days because we don't really have to use it anymore.
Yes, you can see the benefit of teaching this age group, that you can have fun without electronics.
Exactly. You can have really simple fun with simple things.
And it's lovely to see young people having fun and being willing to set aside the mobile phone or the iPad to engage in activities like this. Because also, if you set them up at this age and teach them how to have fun without electronics, well, then as they grow up, they can then carry that with them. And when they're 17, 18, 19 years old, they can still say, okay, we can do things with each other that does not include our mobile phone or our iPad.
Exactly. And one thing that we never do at Gen X, we would never berate a child for having mobiles. We always say to the parents, of course, if the child wants to bring their phone with them, that's absolutely fine. And if we do see the kids on the mobile phones, we don't go running over, say, whoa, put that away, not allowed in here. What we will do is go over and say, hey, do you fancy a game of Uno? Any of you guys fancy going over to the foosball table? Let's have a foosball table challenge. So rather than making the phone the enemy, we give them options, which hopefully are then a lot more fun and they forget about the phone again.
Excellent. So in general, how do you think today's events, especially for young people, can foster more confidence and connection in an increasingly digital world?
Well, I think because what we have at Gen X isn't screen focused. So they are encouraged to go back to the old school way of doing it, to interact with kids, to interact with each other. And like I said, the games that we do at Gen X, they're not just party games. They are structured in a way that include, you need a team. You've got to work as a team to win. So if you want to win, you're going to have to speak to your peers, get involved. And I don't think that there's anything we do at Gen X which is just about I. There's not really an I at Gen X. Even in the karaoke booth, there's 2 microphones so that the kids can sing together. When they do the mocktail making or the juice making behind the bar, we have 8 to 10 children there at the same time, all encouraging each other. Oh, try this. I just made this. Oh, try adding that. This tasted really nice when I did this. So it's all about socializing with each other. And, we don't just concentrate on the ones with the loudest voice or the ones that are more outgoing. I have a member of a team for each activity. And for the quieter children, if they don't want to get involved in, the karaoke booth or something that they don't quite feel comfortable with, then we just choose a different activity for them. We'll bring out the jewelry making sets. And so then more often than not, the quieter children who might have felt a little bit alone when they got to Gen X, all of a sudden the louder children are looking over going, oh, she's making jewelry. I'm going to go and join her. And then they all start chatting around a table whilst making jewelry. So it's actually really nice to see quite unlikely characters actually making very good friends in Gen X. And I think because the parents aren't there, they don't have that usual safety net where they can just hide behind the parents or ask their parents to do things or ask their parents, oh, what do you think? They're kind of put in a situation where they can make their own decisions and they can build the confidence to think, yeah, I'm enjoying this and I'm going to continue, or I'm going to go and speak to that person over there. It's honestly really quite beautiful to see.
Yes, it's a real opportunity to grow socially, to learn how to interact with others, like you say, without the parents being there in that situation. How many children can you accommodate at Gen X?
So for the graduation parties, we normally have 230, 240 kids. For the Gen X brunches that we do on a Sunday, which is 1 till 4, because it tends to be mostly birthday parties, we do a maximum of 8 birthday parties. So if there's only 10 kids in each birthday party, so be it. But sometimes the birthday parties are 25 to 30 kids. Other times there's only 8. So for the Gen X brunch, it's more of a cap on the birthday parties, the different groups, to make sure everyone does the activities. But yeah, the venue holds around 230, 240, something like that, maybe more, but we always make sure there's loads of room.
Yeah, amazing. It must be quite a challenge to keep track of that many kids at the same time. Do you have a big staff that helps you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you'd be surprised. So like I said, we have a member of team on each activity. And then we also have a number of roaming staff. We've got security, first aiders, and then housekeeping, of course. It's funny because the kids tend to gravitate to certain areas of the venue. So it's not like you've got 150 kids all running riot, which I think is what the parents imagine in their brain. They just think, oh gosh, it's like all these children just let loose in one place. It is like a finely oiled machine now because we've been going sort of 3 years in October. We know exactly how to make the rotations work perfectly. And another thing is that a lot of the parents say, oh, but my son's really naughty. I'll wait downstairs. This is my number. I always say to the parents, you'll be surprised because they don't have the opportunity to get bored here. They very rarely misbehave. You know, in the 3 years that we've been going, I can count on two hands how many children I've had to speak to and really get serious with them, you know, because normally it's just a case of them being a little bit excitable. You just like, guys, just calm down a little bit. Yeah, okay, sorry, miss. But yeah, it's just so much fun. I can't explain to you how much fun we have and how easy the kids are to deal with. You would never believe me unless you saw it, but I promise.
Yeah, it sounds, I mean, that many kids sounds like a nightmare. But as you say, if you can keep them busy, that keeps them out of trouble. It's boredness that gets them to now look for something to create some fun for themselves. Whereas if something is there and they are busy with other people and they can see that working together in these teams, there's enjoyment for them, then there's no real need for them to create problems or to misbehave because then it disrupts everyone.
You would be surprised how many times you see their friends getting annoyed with them, especially if it's their birthday party. If one of their friends starts to misbehave, you'll see them go, hey, don't ruin my birthday party. It's funny. And I feel like if the parents were there, they wouldn't be able to speak up like that. But I think because the parents aren't there, they kind of take charge of each other as well a little bit, which is also really good to see.
Also a way for them to grow up, right? For them to take charge.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. It's a brilliant solution that you've created. And I'm so sure there are many, many very happy parents who's so delighted that their children at this tween age has got a solution, a place where they can go that's safe and that's encourage them to build those social relationships as well.
Yeah, totally.
What's next for GenX? Do you have any upcoming projects or goals that you're especially excited about?
Yes. So we are going to be expanding to Abu Dhabi and hopefully Ras Al Khaimah as well. I know that I've been in a lot of talks with parents from Ras Al Khaimah who just said, there is nothing here for the kids to do. And so I'm just in the process of still trying to find a venue in Ras Al Khaimah as well. And then, super exciting, at the end of September, we are starting the base, which is for 15 to 18-year-olds. So it's going to be still at the GenX venue. We're not going to interfere with them as much as we do at GenX because, as we know, 15 to 18-year-olds, they're very cool for school. So it's going to be more of a youth club type drop-in place. So it's just somewhere where they can sit, they can chill with their friends. You know, they've got a live DJ, a little bit like a nightclub, but not a nightclub, if you know what I mean. Just something where they can just go and chill with their mates. But we won't have the games and stuff because that's not cool to them.
No, exactly. They've grown out of that, but still, they need somewhere to go. And now, especially if they've been with you since they were 9, they know how things work. You've seen them grow up in a way. And then this is the next phase because they're still not adults at this age. So they're still not out to drive by themselves. So still great for parents to have a safe place to drop them where they can hang out and chill without needing to maybe take part in games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're still going to have, you know, the pool tables, the foosball tables. They'll still have everything else in there. But yeah, we just know from past experience that the 15 to 18-year-olds, they don't really want to be taking part in the games. They just want to sit, catch up with their mates, have somewhere that they feel is their space. There's one lady actually, her sons came to the very, very first Gen X 3 years ago. She's got 6 boys in total. So 3 of them are now very excited for the base to begin because they're now 15 plus. And the 3 younger ones are still coming to Gen X. So, yeah, we're going to have the whole family now.
Parents would have children at different age groups, especially when you've got 2 areas covered from 9 to 18. Parents could come and drop the kids and even stay downstairs, as you say, and also have some reading time or some relaxing time and know that the kids are safe and having some good experiences. Absolutely brilliant.
Also, something I'm still toying with, but we just had graduation season. So, over 30 schools have celebrated with us. We've had, just over 5,000 children through the doors. And a number of the teachers who obviously came to the Gen X parties to see the kids for their graduation have requested a adult version of Gen X. So I am in discussion with the venue about a Gen Extreme that we maybe put on for the teachers, maybe a 4 till 7 on a Friday afternoon or something. But yeah, that's still in talks at the moment. But the teachers were loving life at the graduations, let me tell you.
My goodness, that's brilliant. That's also an excellent idea. You've got a lot on your plate and a lot of exciting things happening, which is brilliant. How do you balance all of these different things that you are doing? Are you still involved with radio? Because you're doing radio, event hosting, managing a company. How are you managing your time?
That's a very good question. I'm not really sure how I managed to manage it, but somehow I do. I'm still doing the radio, so I'm cover for Dubai 92. I'm going to be on with them for the next 2 weeks. Still do my event hosting, but Gen X will always come first. So instead of being a full-time radio presenter now, I do cover so that in the very busy periods of Gen X, like graduation season, I make sure that I let everybody know that I will not be available for the month of May and June. That would be impossible. But the team for Gen X, my Gen X team, are at a level now that if I'm not available to go to Gen X on a Sunday, I know that they've got it. It was the same for the graduations. There was one graduation that I was sick for, so I couldn't attend. It makes no difference. The team they've been with me since the beginning. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what to do should anything go wrong or if there was any emergencies, which touch wood, so far there hasn't been. I don't know, honestly, how I balance my time because I am very lucky in the respect that I love Gen X. I love my radio work. I love my hosting work. And I remember my dad always said to me, if you enjoy your work, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's honestly how it feels. I could do a 16-hour day. It doesn't feel like that. I feel like I've literally just been out enjoying myself. So I guess that's how I manage my time. It doesn't feel like I am.
Your dad was smart and very true. Yes. I read an article the other day, listened to a podcast, that people who get burnout, often it is because they're doing things that they don't love to do. Whereas if you love to do what you're doing, it doesn't matter how long the day goes, you don't get burnt out. You might get tired physically, but you don't get burnt out because you absolutely get filled up by doing the things that you love to do.
It's the same as a relationship, isn't it? If you're in a good, loving, fun relationship, it doesn't feel like you've been together for 20 years. But if you're not in a very good relationship and you've only been together for a year and a half, it feels like 40 years. It's the same, right?
Absolutely, yes. It should fill you up. It should be so much fun that you don't even notice the difficult parts of it. But I also think, as you mentioned, you keep your schedule quite flexible to adjust depending on where the need is. And also having a great team in place helps a lot because you certainly couldn't handle that many students or that many children by yourself. So I think having a good team in place is also very important. You've done an amazing job, almost 3 years in. Setting up a business, running a business is not easy. There's always some challenges. So what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs if they are thinking of starting their own business?
Do not hesitate and go for it. And if you're terrified, that's good because the fear will just keep on pushing you forward. And self-doubt is completely natural. I have always been a radio presenter. When I first started thinking about doing Gen X, I must have said to 100 people, but I'm just a radio presenter. I'm not a businesswoman. I don't know what I'm doing. Trust me, if I can get a business to where Gen X is now, anybody can. And it's about having self-belief, not giving up, embrace those tears that you will cry because you will. Don't let any negativity stop you. Make it give you even more drive, because there will be people who try to knock you down or to try and make things difficult. Just keep going. Don't ever give up on yourself. And also don't be afraid to ask questions. There is always going to be someone who has been where you are at all different steps of the way. And if you just reach out to people or ask the question, there's no point trying to do it alone. And there's also nothing wrong with not knowing the answer. And I think, especially here in the UAE, the community, the sense of community and the sense that people want to help lift you up, not push you down, is huge here. And I guarantee you will be surrounded by many people in your life who will be able to help you or answer a question. Or if they don't, I guarantee that they will know somebody who will. So yeah, just don't give up. Just keep going, keep asking questions, and just believe in yourself 100%.
Excellent advice. I like how you started with just go for it. If you've got a good idea, don't hold back, go for it. But then also understand that you're not going to have all the answers in the beginning. So be willing, be humble enough to ask for help, because the help is there if we're humble enough to say, I don't know, can you help me? Excellent advice. Well, now we've come to the segment of our show where I'll ask you some rapid fire questions, our version of a game show. Are you ready?
Yes.
Coffee or tea before going on air?
Coffee.
Your all-time favorite event that you hosted?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. Soccer Aid held at Old Trafford at Manchester United football ground. That was incredible.
Fantastic. A radio personality you looked up to early in your career?
It was a guy called Steve Penk. My mum used to drive me and my sister to school, and he used to do a daily wind-up where he would just ring companies or individuals, with like these prankster calls.
Yes.
Oh, he was so funny. So yeah, definitely him as I was growing up. He was brilliant.
A dream guest that you would like to interview?
Do you know who I would like to interview? Because I have missed him 4 times now, and I absolutely fancy the pants off him. Enrique Iglesias. 3 times he came into our radio station, and every one of those times I was on vacation. I kid you not. And then he came to the Coca-Cola Arena, and I went backstage with Jono and Nat, and they were like, you're definitely going to meet him. And then something happened and he wasn't able to do the meet and greets. Enrique, I will nail him down at some point for a chat or a photo at least.
One word that describes your hosting style?
Friendly, I think.
What is one thing that you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
Speak to my dad.
Oh, lovely. Well, thank you for playing along. That was easy enough. Now, I would like to ask you our signature green pill question. If you took the green pill to go back in time and change one thing about your journey, what would it be?
I would move to the UAE sooner. I wish I got here sooner. As much as I love the UK and as much as I absolutely loved working on the breakfast show in the UK for as long as I did, I wish I'd got here before everything went crazy and amazing and sparkly. I wish I'd been in Dubai as it was still being discovered. I would have loved that.
It was crazy at one time. 75% of the world's cranes were in Dubai. That was in the early 2000s. So it was...
I just wish I'd got here before the big boom of everything. I think just to be, if you'd have lived here through that, wow. Yeah, I think that would have been really special.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely excellent to talk to you. Your journey from broadcasting to youth empowerment is incredibly inspiring. And I love how you bring energy and heart and authenticity to everything that you do. I am so looking forward to seeing what you do next with GenX.
Oh, stop it. You're going to make me cry. Thank you so much. Honestly, I really appreciate you having me as one of your guests.
Before we go, where can our listeners connect with you or learn more about GenX?
So you can go to the GenX Instagram, GenX_DXB. That's for the GenX Instagram. You'll see all of our fun and videos and parties on there. We do some great stories as well on a Sunday when we've got the brunch going. The kids are brilliant. I'm just Lorna Bancroft on Instagram. That's it. Just little old me, Lorna Bancroft.
Super. Thank you so much for that. And to our audience, don't forget to follow, give us a 5-star rating, and share this episode. We'll be back next week with more inspiring guests here on the Matrix Green Pill podcast.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.